The new channel. The new channel.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following show are those of the hosts, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the new channel. We are here not only to help you see the new you, but be the new you. I am Jesse Francis, Rebustillo, live streaming from our Celo village, Parañaque City, and you're watching Season 8, episode 128 of the HR Hotline. It happens. We are all ready, set ready for this episode, then I can't understand why my camera and my, what do you call this? My speaker cannot really open. You know what the pandemic is really teaching us? Is for us to be patient, really patient, and then actually be able to allow me to look for my live streaming so that I will know who are already in the house also. So that's it. What it really taught me is for me to be patient and really be calm. If this happened years ago, ngarag. Well, anyway, we have continued our conversations. We call this episode as HR Consultations. I invite seasoned HR and leaders to help me answer questions, their insights, their precious insights, and their sharing of best practices. I know that Bebet Romiciano Reyes from Tarlac is here. And we have Jennifer Nuya. Jennifer is also a host. And we have Mark Hendrik Hernandez. I'm very sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that there was a glitch earlier due to the not the connectivity, but we cannot understand the configuration of StreamYard, that I cannot my camera and my phone cannot really connect. So we start from that. We were discussing what HR should do now, and in particular for this episode, I would like to venture in our conversation the activities and programs that HR should do. We know that nothing. What I call this? If it is a core, or if it is something that is essential, it should not be actually left behind. So I would like to know what are these activities and programs that HR should still continue. Of course, we discussed lengthily last time health and safety, and we are there. I have an anecdote on that later on. Then the second one are what are the policies that should be reviewed and should be revised. And the third one, the new normal culture to be developed. Oh, let me share this first. One is ito nga. This one which is I'm all set, but there was a glitch in the connectivity. So what should HR actually do? Will HR of TNC accost me for that? Will you as an HR accost your people that they are not actually the connectivity is not good and you fret? What should we do with that? The other one is the this anecdote, this sharing of mine, wherein somebody is actually forcing me to use a a platform wherein I am not really comfortable. What should you do with that? As regards to the policies and that has to be reviewed, I just read a an article by my friend Ernie Cecilia, wherein he wrote something about the hybrid. There will be a lot of things that HR and leaders should do to make sure that the hybrid, uh, what do you call this, arrangement should be successful. As I gathered, I was correct that the hybrid doesn't mean that you really let your people report to the office. It is actually looking for a place that you can meet. You can even meet somewhere else, so that the office that you're renting maybe forgo you can forgo it, or the the spaces can really be given to those who are actually supposed to be in the office. Then that one of the culture. So we have here Jennifer and Mark and Bebet. I'm still waiting for some of our friends to join us. I was not able to forward the link because I had some glitch. If you can help me forward this link so that they can be with us. Okay. So I am actually doing it now so that they can be with us. Uh, okay. So let us start. Can I have your insights on what else should be done, and this in particular aside from health and safety, what else should be done that we are in a lockdown? Share your best practices, please. I accosted one of my students in PIMA, wherein she was absent because she was actually manning the vaccination. I told her I went as an individual to the vaccination and nobody actually was monitoring me. So I just cannot understand that HR should be there. And I think this is actually the vaccination in the LGU, not theirs. So I cannot understand. Will you be the will you be the nanny? Will you be the assistant that you really have to be there? All of the HR 100 strong to be there, and you're putting yourself actually in a scary position. So I would like to know your insights on this. So do we have already sharings here? Yes, hello, Mark. Yes, yes. Can we spot on Mark? Mark Hernandez is a friend of mine, and he is actually an officer of the People Management Association of the Philippines. And again, we will invite you for tomorrow's IR Kapiyan. The success of hybrid type of work will depend on the acceptance of management. That is true, actually, Mark, because that is actually a change in mindset. It is not just AWA. There is a difference between hybrid and AWA, Mark. Mark, you are correct. AWA is alternative working arrangement. But hybrid is actually different because a hybrid is actually you're now institutionalizing that people will be working remotely or virtually. It's just hybrid because if there is need for you to really face to face, then you just have to plan it. But sometimes it has to be asynchronous. It has to be asynchronous because actually now we're actually effective. All the PMAP meetings, all the ECOP meetings, all the PSDT meetings are actually done through the Zoom or virtually, and it is effective. So why will you still have to meet face to face? But if there is a need for one because you need some signature of you, there is a need, then you can have that arrangement. But that is should be the list that you must do. That is hybrid. I just read it earlier. So thank you, Mark, for mentioning that. This is actually on how management take. I had this webinar in a big GOCC, and the executives are actually the ones not so keen on working from home until such time that almost all of them got sick. So they have to be really at home. So we have here Jennifer. Yes, every CEO is a digital CEO. Right, right. Actually, the article written by Mr. Ernest Cecilia is it has to come from the executives. It related. If you really don't have to show it, not the entire organization will not be able to do it. So the first one who should actually practice it is actually the executives and management. We need to let go of the old notion that people need to be together for work to be done unless it's assembly line. Very spot on, Jennifer. Right, spot on, Jennifer. Unless it is even the assembly line, we can still the one that is proposed is HR and the leadership should start now working on the arrangements, on the guidelines on what to do. So actually, this will be change management, real change management. I'm doing that. I have done that for at least 3 webinars already, and I am pleading to those in the executive that they have to come up with and with a with an arrangement. This is what I this is actually my own. I try to delineate the strategic planning from business continuity. What these are just gobbledygook terminologies. But I told them the business continuity should now be discussed. How you're going to transition, pivot, or whatever you would like to call it. But that one is the hybrid mindset. It's actually a mindset. It's actually a thinking, and from that, HR and leaders should document it through guidelines and be able to actually adapt it. And then you are right, Mark. You are right, Jen. It's actually the executives going down. We are leading now to the culture later on to the culture. We have here Mark and Bebe. Apple here. Uh, Apple here has Apple. It's Apple first. I don't know. Si Tita. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know it's other. You know it's other. Yes, you know it's other. Yeah, I know it. I know it. There, you're from. Both of you are from Tarlac. Yes, Bebet here. HR programs, can we spot on Miss Bebet is from Tarlac? HR programs that should be pursued are trainings and development of employees. Yes, because that one of the mind setting should be the first one that should be tackled on, spot on. I am actually doing that in some of our modules. I even have to start Bebet on creative thinking, to strategic thinking, to systems thinking, and then tell this to people that they must use it now. I even have to start, I have a module that the being becoming that the person has to start with the inward, outward mindset so that there will be what you call the successful mindset, right? So we need those training now because of the change. Not everybody can really fathom the changes that is undergoing now. So there should be somebody who should input it to them that there is a need for people to think. I hope hindi ako napakalalim. Okay, so let's go to Mark Hernandez here. Mark Enric, I like your second name. I am Jesse Francis. You know, Mark, I like your second name. Can we spot on Mark? Mark Hernandez. HR role is to equip themselves first before equipping everyone in the organization to be tech savvy. That's right. Those are the things to do. You know, Mark, I have students, you know, that I'm teaching in the certification. You know, these are actually lower, or what you call this, specialists or officers, not actually the HR managers. And then what I got from them is that some of their leaders is not only being tech savvy, Mark. Some of their leaders, HR leaders, mind you, are still very traditional. So I just don't know what can PMAP do to actually what you call this fast track or trigger that. You know, sometimes I am a retiree and sometimes I'm so brutal. I have to tell them that they have to really change that mind. I am 64, but I already have changed. You know, these are the things that must be done. Very, very light and shallow question. What must be done? Very deep, because this is actually mindset. And then what I call, Mark, yung tinatawag na unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, and unconscious competence and conscious competence. Sometimes you don't know that, and that should be taught. Okay, so from work, can we spot on Juan Lu is here. Thank you, Juan Lu. And then, yes, Bebet, of course. Then we have, yes. Okay. Okay. Can you spot on what Ma'am Apple mentioned here? Yes, I would like to read it. HR is key to every company. Some executives think it's not important. In fact, a business HR is key. If HR is not in place, a business may fall. Business continuity is important in the management. Top level executives must function as HR wherever necessary, especially if you're a startup company. Yes, 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 Apple. You know, HR is actually permitted. HR, there are some programs and operation wherein HR department should facilitate. But HR is a function. Just like say finance is a function, marketing is a function. It doesn't mean that only the marketing department should do marketing. Everybody should do marketing, including the janitor. Also finance. Everybody must be entrepreneurial. Everybody must actually be in on the lookout on the cost accounting, on how they are going to do accounting management. And the janitor can actually propose something to the leadership on how they are going to save or economize now. Similarly to HR. HR is not just like personal transactions. No. HR is actually should be a function of every leader, of everybody, on everybody. Just like team alignment is not just a function of HR. Everybody should be part of the team. But that should be now, this is now already surfacing with what is happening, but there should be a trigger. Kunin nyo ako magturo niyan. Okay, okay. Okay, then we have Jennifer Nuya. Can we spot on Jennifer here? Yes, even the bandit clock is a product of assembly line. If you are working with people with higher order thinking skills like analysts, um, a UX, UI design, managing teams, they need time to think, which can be captured by mouse clicks. Yes, actually, Jennifer, you are right. I have some organizations and associations wherein not the rank and file, but the leaders are actually complaining because of the check-ins. And they had been telling that, during the face-to-face, there was a time that you can say, give me time to finish this memo. But this time, it cannot be because you are also thinking about it. So there are times, if it is a job wherein you need time to think, crystallize. Remember, Jennifer, that when you are working from home, it's actually completed staff work. So all the leaders and HR must understand that. Going up from the staplers that you need to the paper that is required, if it has to be printed, or to everything, to the research, it has to be done by one person, unless, going back to what Mark discussed earlier, there is now a new arrangement that the asynchronous is not only from the leader to the rank and file. The asynchronous can be rank and file with rank and file if they need to work together. That is what HR and the leadership should now come up. What will be the arrangements if they work together? Because they are working alone. It is completed staff work. Unless talagang napakatalino ng tao mo. Or else, it will be helpless and they will not actually be productive. You're right, Jennifer. The Bandy clock system. Then we have here, yes, okay. Jennifer Nuya again, that one after Ma'am Cholita. If I may suggest all managers need to be HR leaders, employee engagement, labor relation, performance management. It should be, and everybody. Yes, yes. Jennifer, I am actually teaching certification, and I'm also being asked to do uh, upgrading of HR in some company. One of which is a big agricultural company in the south. I already have been telling them that uh, it is actually the mindset of HR business partnering, wherein the one that should be actually responsible for all of this. Yes, employee engagement. It's actually the leader's function. That one of performance management. Yes, performance management is the continuous conversation how to improve. And then what's the third one, Jennifer? That one of labor relations. Yes, I am even telling them now, Jennifer, that they, unless it is an infraction which requires termination, all employee disciplinary actions should not be endorsed to HR. Leaders should be the one to solve it in their own turf. In their own turf, because you're the ones there. That is part of your job. There should now be a change that when you become a supervisor and become a manager, you supervise and manage. You do not do any operative jobs anymore. And included in that job are the function of delegation, the function of people management. That's why we call it people management. You are right, Jennifer. So these are the things, going back to our topic, these are the things that HR should do. I hope we can share this. Can we spot on Mark Hernandez? Mark Hernandez. Jennifer and Mark, I will be glad if you can share this to the PMAP so that they can listen. HR role should now be business well. Yes, yes, Mark. That is actually the HR business mentoring mindset. You really have to be part of the strategic planning, starting with manpower planning and HR, human resource workforce planning. But not only that, you HR must look into. Yes, can you spot on direct? I haven't finished with Mark's post. To continue being a business partner, we must know the financial standing. Only then you can pivot your programs to assist the main goal of the organization. Yes, sometimes you are very correct, Mike. There are the traditional HR. You just come up with activities and programs that is HR for HR para lang may magawa. You don't actually look into the value, to the essence, to the objective of that program. If it has to do with the business continuity or the bottom line of the organization. So I think HR must have that mindset of the balance scorecard. And everybody I know, they will just tell you, yes, I've heard that. But actually, the deep meaning of the balance scorecard, that it starts with people, then with customers, then with operations, then with finance. In that order. In that order. Or what was written by Ernest Cecilia is that we have to look into the engagement of the internal human resource, then the interest of your audience or your customers, and then your revenue. In that order. In that order. So I don't know if what we can do. I don't know how we share this to our community. The community of HR Hotline is only around 400 to 500. And these are my students. I don't know how we can tell them this. Hindi naman po ako napakatalino, but let's really collaborate, that we have to influence all the leaders, not only HR, all the people managers, that this should be the mindset now. And thanks to the pandemic, because this is surfacing. This is surfacing. Okay. So, what did Jennifer, ang sinabi rito, direct? Pero lang may magawa. Para lang may magawa, Jennifer, talaga. Para lang may. Even now, parang magawa. Alam mo, Jennifer, meron akong alam. Of course, sarado katoliko ako. Nagpapa-online mass. Alam mo, there are around 100. Alam mo kung ilan nag-a-attend? 21. So that means that should not nagkukulang yung HR doon para lang masabi na mayroon siyang masubmit sa boss na mayroon siyang ginawa. 'Di ba? Hindi 'yun eh. Kahit ako sarado katoliko, dapat isipin mo muna yung need o yung oras. Mali mo naman tulog o mali mo nagtatrabaho. So hindi pinag-iisipan para lang magkaroon ng programa. 'Di ba? Tapos kung hindi ka nag-attend, -1 sa iyo. Okay. Then we have your Jenny. I like the fact that kay Jennifer, I like the fact that you can be funny, Pipi Jessie, without trying. Ganun ako talaga. Ganun ako makipag-usap, Jenny. Then Bebet here. Bebet is a cousin. He's a distant relative. HR must know also the HR metrics so that HR can also help in some management decision. Yes. And Cousin Bebet, ang HR must be able to know yung mga KPIs ng anyway we hold it. Diba? We are the one in charge of what do you call this? Competency based management. Then we are in charge of job analysis, and job evaluation. So we know the KPIs. And besides, we are actually the repository for the performance management of the objectives. So we must know it. And then, ang mahirap nun, na it's just there. Yun na nga ang sinabi. Nag-a-analytics. Nandyan na yung data. Dapat data-driven ang iyong ginagawa ng HR. Medyo po ito malalim that I would like to share to all HR who's going to listen to this. Systems thinking. Ang gustong sabihin ng systems thinking, hindi mo na nga iniisip yung problema because it's there. The KPIs will tell us the gaps and vulnerabilities kung ikaw nagsisystem thinking. Pero kung ang isip mo ay wala akong pakialam dyan kasi problema yan ng operations, problema yan ng marketing, hindi ka po systems thinking. Tapos ang gagawin mo, siguro mag-HR business partnering tayo, maglagay ka doon ng tao, hindi ka pa rin systems thinking. Kasi kahit ka maglagay ng tao, gagawin lang yan nakatulong doon, pero hindi naman nakukuha nung ikaw as the champion. Wala rin. So, ang kailangan nga talaga sinabi ni Mark, HR should be equipped. HR, that there should actually, for lack of vocabulary, change management. Change of the system. So, we have here, agree with you, HR metrics need to be aligned with organizations' midterm and long-term goals. Oo nga, you know, Jennifer and Cousin Bebet, at this time ginagawa yun kasi it's already September. Diba? At hindi isipin mo zero, ang maganda ngayon, zero-based eh. Kasi siyempre, nagka-pandemic, so zero-based. So you cannot even compare to 2019. Kasi iba yun eh, face-to-face yun eh. So it's zero-based. Pero nga, kailangan mag-isip. Ang mahirap nga nito, hindi ka nag-work-life integration, ayaw ko mag-isip kasi ang gusto mong isipin kung paano ka magluto. Ganun yun eh. So dito ngayon, habang ikaw nagluluto, habang ikaw nag-garden, mag-isip. Ito na nga ang sinabi ni Mr. Ernest Cecilia dun sa write-up niya. Now is the time that you really have to be entrepreneurial. Now is the time. I posted something that it was reposted. Now is the time that you really have to think you're the owner of the company. Diba? Hindi ka mag-iisip na bahala yung marketing, bahala yung sales, bahala. Ang iniisip mo lang na ako rito maiiwan. Oo nga. Ang pinakamahirap, ikaw naiwan ng HR para magsara. I had that experience early on in 1992. Yung unang pinasukan kong Japanese firm, yung unang trabaho ko, magsara. Just imagine yung unang trabaho ko, magsara. Yan ang pinakamahirap po. Yun, naging seryoso ako, Jennifer. Then we have, nako, nandito si aking idol. Ang aking idol, Obit Policarpio. You know, Obit is a friend. Obit is the previous president when I became president of PMAP. He is a mentor. You know, I am older than Obit, but you know, Obit sometimes gives me lots of insights, and we need that. That is desiderata. There is a person greater and lesser than you are, and you need somebody to guide you, even if I can sense that I'm already a little bit, diba, seasoned. Okay, so can we spot on Mr. Obet Policarpio? Okay, and after Obet, we'll have the break. A good afternoon, PP Jesse and everyone. The technicalities, targets, expectation, functional responsibilities, competencies are given. Right. Nandiyan na yan eh. Ang mahirap po, PP Obet, kung before the pandemic, wala. Ang dami po dyan, hindi pa competency-based. We'll have a story on that. Among the imperatives to be managed and conducted according to organizational culture, core values, business strategies, etc. are blending elements such as malasakit, empathy, listening, communication, business acumen, wellness, and above all, spirituality. When we come back, yan ang pag-uusapan natin. We spot on again, Obet, no? Tama yun. So dapat, what should we, PP Obet, can you espouse it? Mark and then Jennifer, can we, coming from PP Obet, can we espouse this clearly kung ano ang dapat gawin doon? Kasi yun na yun ang meat eh. Kasi mahirap naman yung HR, mga rag eh. Kasi anong gagawin ko? Baka lang naman kumuha ng isang pare at magturo ng spirituality. Di ba? Or kinuha ako, magturo ako. Hindi. There should be a process. Now that we are on a lockdown. Remember, the topic is what you should do while you are on a lockdown, and these are actually surfacing. This, you think these are little things, hindi po, malalim. So just like what nag-agree si Mark kay PP Obet. Can we spot on before we have the break, Direct Monica? Yes. Ensure that everything is anchored on how each one deals distinctly to its person, driven by an authentic heart. Yeah, with a purposive mission for the greater good of the majority. Thank you, PP Obet. Don't go away because we'll have to discuss what you just posted after the break. Thank you very much. Very important conversations. Hi, yes. I was trying to put on the aircon. It's a little getting a little bit hot. So let us continue what PP Obet mentioned. What are the things to do? Okay, can we spot on again the lengthy post of PP Obet, direct Monica? Because that's actually the third item that we have to discuss. Now, before that, yes. The technicalities, target expectations, and functional responsibility components are given. Ang mahirap nito, PP Ovet, ang iba nga, hindi nga pa competency based. And some of them, hindi pa actually nagawa yung the real performance management setup. Would you believe, PP Ovet, na kahit na yung coaching and mentoring, a lot of them are telling na mayroon. Pero hindi naman pala nakaset up yung coaching program at yung mentoring program. Para bang they just ask one trainer to train how leaders how to coach. At yun na yun. So there is no continuity. There is not even an assessment on how good they are doing it kasi hindi nakaset up ang program. So, ladies and gentlemen, HR and leaders, iba po yung ikaw ay nag-mentor-mentoringan, tormentor ka, or ikaw ay nag-coaching-coachingan, then there is actually a set up program for coaching and mentoring at yun po ay separate. Ako po ay traditional pagdating diyan kasi that is actually coming from before pa. Yun. So yun ang sinasabi ni PP Obet, dapat yun nakaset up na. Kung hindi yan nakaset up, yun ang sinasabi natin, what do we have to do? Catch up ka. Catch up ka. You have to tell, paano ngayon? Paano ngayon kasi it's already a virtual coaching, a virtual mentoring. Paano ngayon? Kung wala kang set up program at hindi marunong ng questions to ask, Hindi lang yung mentor na nagkwento lang eh. Hindi lang yung nag-mentor. Just imagine now, nagme-mentor about mental health. Jennifer, are you still there? At hindi naturuan actually yung mga leaders and what is actually mental health. Scary. Scary. Very scary. I really would like this to be a light moment, but that is really very scary. I know that. I am actually on the ground and I know that. Yung nagme-mentor, nag-a-advise on mental health, ay mismo mayroon din mental health issue. Paano yun, Jennifer? Jennifer, are you still there? Mm-hmm. Mark, can you give your insights or best practices on this? So ang sinasabi, technicalities, di ba yung mentoring, kung hindi naka-set up. Now, kung hindi naka-set up, i-fast track yun. Now, kung ano naman, can we go back again yung sinabi ni PP Obet, concocted according to organizational culture, core values, business strategies. Yun nga yun. So it's actually, PP Obet is a change management. And it has to be really, ano, nabasa ko yun. Can we spot on Jennifer? Directly, coaching. Yes, Jennifer. nag kayo ni at nagkukunlutuan pagbalik sa workplace iligay daw sa coaching lang. Totoo yun. That is actually coachingan. Hindi nakalagay. Akala I know I am on the ground, Jennifer, and I know this. Mark, member tayo ng leadcom, dapat you have to look into this. Ang dami dyan, ang tatalino na, nagte-take up na kung ano-anong mga training. Pagdating ng oras, hindi naman, hindi kinaskade doon sa leaders. So, ang leaders, nagkukutsig. Yung HR, napakatalino na yan eh. Pero ang HR, hindi naman dapat ikaw ang nagkukoach. At hindi naman ikaw ang nagme-mentor. Dapat ang kaya dapat isi-set up mo. Dapat may continuous, actually, ang role ng HR sa coaching and mentoring, you really have to monitor and follow up not the coaches but the coaches and the mentors, how they are doing it. Hindi po talaga, pardon my street lingo of coaching-coachingan. Yes, tama yon. Yung nagpunta lang doon sa tabi, I miss PP Jerry Plana. Ang sabi ni Jerry, dapat ilagay ang coaching as part of the KPI. At ang mentoring, this is actually needed now, but it has to be set up, organized. Kung hindi set up, organized properly. So dapat mag-isip. Ang mahirap nito, magtanong ka sa lahat. Kung if they have a mentoring program outline or a mentoring program curriculum or a mentoring program assessment, wala. Basta kung tanungin mo, ay mayroon kami niyan, sir. Mayroon kami. Tapos hindi nalalaman kung sino yung mentor at yung coach. Anyway, so yan ang dapat mga gagawin. At yung sinabi nga dito ni PP Obit is about spirituality. Diba? Yung heart. Organizational business strategies. So, there are a lot of things to do from the HR end. Yung actually, the more that you are working from home, the more that you're integrating your life, you have to look on work and then the deep meaning of work. Nandito na si Mark. Mark, can you spot on Mark? Mark is a friend of mine. Mark, naiinggit ako sa'yo, nagbabike ka. Coaching same as meaningful conversation should be part of such leaders' KPI. Oo, Mark. Oo talaga, Mark. It has to be. It is needed now. Kasi, di ba dapat merong yung, at kasama na sa checking in, checking on, checking up of our people. But kasama doon is yung asynchronous nga eh. So, ano yung delineation that you are actually giving an instruction, you are actually teaching, or actually you are coaching. During the face-to-face, medyo na-delineate. Kasi at the time that the person is actually doing it, at nakisawsaw ka, that can actually be in coaching. And then talaga, kung walang alam, Then you start to giving orientation and you're trying to really teach it, drawing ka dyan, then you are teaching. Iba paano ngayon? Paano ngayon? That you are. So that has to be delineated and the leaders should be taught. I know HR knows it. I don't take this against me kasi sabihin mo naman si sir naman na sobrang makapuna. No. I know we know it. Kasi sa dami bang nagtinuro ng PIMA, kasama na ako niyan, tuturo ako niyan eh. Pero ang tanong ngayon, na-set up ba ito sa mga organizations natin? Kasi we're going now to lead to what PP Obet mentioned. We are now leading to my third. So what is the new normal culture to be developed? At dun sa policies to be reviewed and revised. Can I ask all my friends who are here, can you just put your insights on what do you think are the policies or activities or practices that has to be reviewed and revised? Tingnan natin. So, Mark here, can you spot on Mr. Mark Hernandez? Mark Hernandez, please. There are a lot of things to do, develop our employees, but do not be misled. Quality versus quantity people programs. Spot on ka, Mark. But do not mislead quality versus quantity. Kasi sa dami mong ginagawa, baka hindi ka nag-prioritize what is actually needed. So this is a nice insight and a nice reminder. There are a lot of things to do to develop our employees. So ang tatawin nila, maganda itong you are at home, sit down, be still and think, reflect, and discern. What are the things that you have to be developed? And try to see the gaps first. And then after that, ano ang unang gagawin? Right, Mark. Very, very good si Mark. Si Mark talaga dapat maging presidente na ito. Then we have Bebet Roa Misiano. Sige, Cousin Bebet. Can we spot on Bebet? HR should also know how to coach and to be a mentor. Of course, kasi dapat siya po ang nagdoon sa magte-trainers training. Counseling is also very important in this new normal. But actually, Cousin Bebet, yung pag-coach dapat nandun yan sa leaders. Of course, ang mahirap nga nito, we cannot be emulated kasi sometimes yung HR actually yung may kulang. So dapat yung HR talaga dapat maturo. Mag-join siya dito sa amin ni Mark sa Leadcom. Sa Lead, di ba, Bebet, you're also a mentor sa Leadcom. The proper way to do it. Then we have Madam Grace Ralios is back here. Thank you very much. Can you spot on why not do a regular healthy self-evaluation, coaching the coach, mentor the mentor? Yes. Alam mo, that is what I mentioned, Ma'am Grace. Hindi yan nakaset up eh. If you, I've been around trying to ask, only very few, pero parang FGD na rin yun. Mayroong mentoring, mayroong coaching, pero hindi po naka-embed itong sinasabi mo. Yung regular updating or upgrading or reskilling the mentors and the mentees. Kaya medyo, actually ngayon dapat gawin eh, kasi it's already on a virtual mode. And then dapat ngayon magti-trigger ka what will be the questions and what will be the leading questions that should be done leading to a culture that you want to develop. So, policies, sabi ni Ma'am Bebet here, policies, ang ganda ng ating discussion, no? Policies that should be reviewed are the benefits of the employees. Also, kaya yun ang sinabi ko, Cousin Bebet. Kasi baka may naiwan. Yes, benefits. And benefits is actually the total reward. Is working from home a reward or is working from home face-to-face a reward? Ang tanong ko niyan, yung nakuha ko kina Mr. Nick Lim, kina Mr. sa Ayala, remember, Mark? Ang sinabi nila is the employee experience. So, ang aking tinuturo niyan ganito. Yung bang pagtrabaho sa opisina, especially yung under mo, ay para siyang nagtatrabaho sa impyerno? O, yan ang total reward. Ano naman si Jenny? Di ba? It's the employee experience eh. Para bang, say, staying with me, or say, mag-asawa kayo, living with me should be heaven, not hell. So it's your husband's experience, or now it's also with employees. Working in that company should be heaven at hell. So ganun yung experience. Sino yung doon nag-i-start ng hell? So policies on the benefits. Benefits is not only the salary these days. Benefits is actually the total reward. Uh, uh, care care has a value now. The safety, the health, and everything. So that should be included already. Just imagine there are still some HR or asking me question if they should give donations to somebody who died of COVID. Okay. Then we have here Jennifer Noya. Yes, yes, daw sabi ni Grace, coaches and mentors and need mentors in order to remain on top of their game. Seven habits sharpen the soul. We need that. We need that. Then we have Mr. Mark Hernandez. Yes, si Mark. Yes, in terms of policies, AWA is one, but will depend on your business model. Review your processes with digitalization or digitalization in mind. Yes, Mark. If it is really some of the assembly, as Jennifer mentioned, or it is a manufacturing, it can be, if it's really it's still traditional that the equipments and the machineries are there, but it has to be. But little by little, you must think of arrangements wherein uh, people are less to be diba, working in the office, which is why there is a company in the south wherein PPG Rene there and I was actually amazed that they're still constructing 5 buildings for some processes in the future. So anyway, they really have to look into that. So Jennifer again with the can you spot on Miss Jenny? With the many expectations from HR, it's time we acknowledge their contribution to the organization. Sadly, HR is the last priority when it comes to leading and development, employees engagement, total rewards. Right, Jenny. You know, it depends on how HR position themselves. Di ba nga ang sabi, there are value propositions coming from marketing, which is actually revenue, coming from finance, which is actually looking into the financial matters and operation, which is a product. What is it from HR? What is the value of HR? The answer is actually our innovation, our change. So something from point A to point B, so that they will actually value our contributions in the organization. But you know, we have to be, but not aggressive, but what do you call that? We have to be, there's a term for that, but not aggressive. We have to really be, what do you call it? You have to na hindi naman shout out, tell the world that there is value of what we do. Kasi sometimes we are left behind and then we have a lot of things to do. Right, Jennifer? But you know, at this time, thanks to the pandemic, HR is actually on top of everything. We are the lead, and the Baldridge was actually correct that in the balance scorecard, it's people, which is why I am endorsing to all those. I am doing actually 2 strategic planning that the first thing that HR should do now is actually manpower planning and workforce planning. Manpower planning? Yes. So, sumigaw talaga ako. Yes. You know, those are one of the least that the HR is actually doing. Well, you know why? With the requirements of the pandemic that you need to have people actually dapat walking distance, and actually are they still there? The valued employees are still there. You have to really look into your manpower plan if they are still available, because people don't want to. I know a lot of people in the provinces, they don't want to work in Manila for the next 3 years. I know that. Chismoso po ako. Chismoso po ako. So they're looking for jobs. Actually, I know of a lot of HRs who are actually leaving their companies because they are from Bulacan and they're working there in the south, or they're from the south, they're working in the north. They would like to give up their work because they are afraid of commuting. So one thing that HR should do now is actually manpower planning. If you really know what manpower planning is. So yun. So yun. So we have here from Grace Ralios, the mentor stays in the role as mentor or coach as coach but should be self-reviewed by other mentors and coach. Yun nga alam mo Ma'am Grace, there should be something that should be done kasi I know this. I have asked some of my students at mayroon talagang nangyayari. Then of course Jennifer, yes, can spot on Jennifer. Impyerno agad, hindi pwedeng purgatorio. Oo nga. Pero alam mo, Jennifer, yung sinasabing the reason why they leave is actually because they cannot stand it anymore. So it's actually the reward system. Reward is actually the pat at the back, the little conversation, the care that you do. Reward is not actually, alam mo ang Jennifer, ang mga younger generations ngayon, even if mataas ang, ay kilala ko kita, di ba ikaw rin, nag-usap tayo, kahit mataas ang sweldong ibigay, pero kung hindi maganda, yung rewards is actually not the compensation. Rewards actually is the total experience of the individual. Dapat makuha yan ng that mindset, makuha yan ng HR. That and then makuha ng HR and then that is the culture that should be developed and then cascaded to the leadership. Na kayo ang gumagawa ng heaven, ng langit. It's the experience actually. And this is not original. This is just my interpretation, what I got from the speeches that I heard from PIMA. Kasama dyan yung listening. Kaya sa Saturday, kayo rin po. Oh my God, nandito si Mr. Jerry Plana. Yan, nandito na si PPO pa, si Mr. Can we spot on Jerry Plana? Yes. Promoting employee well-being should be prominently emphasized in developing the company's employee value proposition. So yun pala ang value proposition ng HR. Diba? Promoting the employee well-being. Well-being should cover physical, mental, social well-being. More particularly, metrics should be established in mental and social well-being areas. Leaders should be sensitive to their impact on their employers' mental health. Ayan. Ang dami na talagang gagawin, sinabi ni Mark. So ito ang unang gagawin is promoting employees' well-being. Nandun na tayo, Jerry. Last time we discussed about the vaccination, pero this time is actually what particular activities should be done by HR and the leaders. Hindi naman HR, parang hindi naman tayo guilty. That the employee well-being is actually addressed. Can we have Grace here? Thank you very much. This is a very nice conversation. Review the performance metrics integrating high premium of people's skills and compassion, empathy, while sustaining bottom lines in balance. Yes. So the performance metrics, ang mahirap kasi, Ma'am Grace, nandiyan si Jerry. Kinakuha ko ito kay Jerry. Napaka-focus yung performance on results. Napaka-focus on the process of assessment. Ang sabi nga ni Pipi Jerry, dapat i-focus doon sa conversation on the improvement. Am I right, Jerry? So, tingnan yung review of performance metrics, integrating high premium of people's skills. Ang mahirap din dito, Ma'am Grace, hindi nga competency-based. So, hindi alam kung ano ang i-improve and i-upgrade. Oo. So, right. And the bottom line is actually the result. Diba? Ang mahirap nga ngayon kasi ang hirap ng result ngayon kasi it's not anymore. Of course, productivity should always be aligned to time frame. But titingnan nga natin na hindi yan yung pagsabi mong mag-submit kasi we have to discuss on the capability of the individual. Then we have your Mark. Si Jennifer. Jerry Plana leaders. Leaders should be sensitive to their impact on their employees' mental health. Louder, please. Yes. Leaders should be sensitive to their impact on their employees' mental health. Yun na yung sinasabi ko, Jen, na sometimes you're a tormentor, you're Thor, and actually, you're not rewarded, and then you are actually living in hell, and then you leave that particular. Okay, alam mo, Jen, I am talking from experience. There are a lot, I call them valued employees leaving their jobs because now during the pandemic they nag-surface that sabi niya, nag-surface. Parang, alam mo, Sir Jess, ang mundo ko pala parang, yun nga, impyerno, parang ano. So I'm leaving. So these are food for thoughts. Then, Mark, your policy on total rewards must be visited. Yes, yes. Totoo yun talaga. Totoo talaga yun, Mark. We are just emphasizing this. I know your organization is having, narinig ko kayo eh. Total rewards must really be visited. Rewards is that there are some that are intrinsic, extrinsic. Ay, makinig tayo to Pipi Jerry. Meron siyang ano niyan, webinar. Yung there are non-monetary rewards that we have to do right now. Then we say, hi, can we spot on Grace Ralios, please? HR should not be a puppet or echo of a bad leader. Be courageous to leave a company with a bad leader. You report objectively. It's self-respect we invest on to be respectable. Right. Alam mo, Ma'am Grace, ang dami kong alam niyan eh. Executive directors, mga ano na, they leave. Even in the academe or even in the hotel industry. I don't know what COVID actually brought us, not only the virus, but actually that deep discernment na parang this is not actually the life that I would like to do. Not because I cannot do it, but because the culture that is in the organization actually is not good for me. So yun. So let's go to Mark Eric Hernandez. Mark, nag-collaborate tayo nito ni na Pipi Jerry. To add to Pipi Jerry, value proposition AFHR should include sustainable and cost-efficient intervention. Right. Kasi malay mo naman, Mark, napakamahal. Yes, sustainable. And I like that one of sustainable. Kasi ang daming HR dyan, they come up with very expensive programs tapos hindi naman pala sustainable. Yes, Mark, yung mga apps, yung mga systems, ang mahal-mahal kaya niyan tapos hindi naman nasusustain. Mark, my word. Mark, totoo. Ang daming nagkumuha, especially sa government, ng HRIS, but they're not using the data. And then nagtitake ng data analytics, hindi naman nila magawa. Ang mahal-mahal kaya yon. Mark, isa pa, tama yung sinabi niya, can you spot on what, sabi niya, I agree with sustainable and cost-efficient interventions. Totoo yun, Mark. Ang dami, Mark, nagpapalagay ng yung mentoring program that they get a team, a consultant to help them, tapos hindi naman nasusustain. And then another one, yung performance management. Ang dami kong alam. Diyos ko, ano yan, millions of pesos, Mark, ha? Yung pay for position, pay for ang dami. Ang mahirap niyan is the one actually sitting is ang mahirap niyan to add to it. Pag-alis nung manager, hindi naman ika-catch nung papalit, nawawala. So investment is really sayang. So we have here compassion and empathy are leadership skills. Yes, and that has to be taught. Then let's go back to Mark, and after that, we can call it a day. Let's go to Jennifer. Jennifer first. I suffered mental health issues, had to undergo 6 months therapy because of some leaders I've worked before. Yes, Jennifer. I know that. I am actually doing some counseling to some of my students who are actually going into that also. And most especially now that we are on a pandemic. Diba? Yung parang nare-realize nila, should I leave or should not, should I stay? Sabi ko, what is the reason for being is actually nag-surface na they cannot stand anymore the bosses. It's actually the culture and the bosses. You're right. Then we go to Mark. Kindly promote tomorrow, of course. Yes. Let's all of us, let's attend the IR Kapian tomorrow from 2 to 3 p.m. It's only 300 pesos for the PMAP members and 500 pesos for non-members. To register, email margo.noreda@pmap.org.ph. What we are discussing, continuation doon, pero this is more on the DOLE advisories. Is actually what we should do with all the Dole advisories, yung musings, musings on the Dole advisories. Kasi may oras, ang mahirap nga, nakakuha ka ng bago, hindi mo nakita yung previous. So, let Attorney Wins help us navigate these questions with Dole. So I advise, if you cannot attend, engage your leaders to attend the PMAP IR event tomorrow. Okay, so let's go to Jennifer. Mayroon pa si Jennifer and Jerry and Grace. Yes, one upside from this expectation, I've learned what kind of a leader I want to be, need to be courageous, authentic, and accepting. Yes, yes. And that should, thank you. I should include that in my webinars. And then we have Jerry here. Jerry, can we have you on Saturday with PP Obet? I would like you to be on the screen. The US is experiencing the great resignation. A great number of employees are quitting their jobs. One this we can do is be more serious in our developing our leaders. They should stop being toxic and start being inspiring. This needs a robust leadership development program that should teach leaders how to engage remote workers, put well-being as a priority, and handle crisis well. Spot on, Jerry. You're correct. You are very correct. Kasi ako, chismoso, Jerry, ang dami kong alam. Actually, ang alam ko, 4 ngayon na ngayon, they're leaving their companies. And they are actually having nice paying jobs, but they're leaving not for anything else. Maybe because of the pandemic, they realize that their working is not actually valuable. So, I think this is a time, kaya di ba, what should we do in the lockdown? Discern and think. Listen and think. For all those who are going to listen, we're going to share this. Call on Jerry, call on me, call on PP Obet, call on Grace Ralios, call on Mark. And then let's do conversations so that you can really think of how you're going to improve the culture in the organization. So then we have Ma'am Grace Ralios. Ma'am Grace, can you spot on Grace, please? Thank you, Jesse. Continue the blessing. Yes, yes. So we can be accommodated at least 5 or 8. Can I invite Mark, Jerry, PP Obet, and Grace? I will text you individually. I want you to be on the screen this time, still on how what to do, but this is a little bit light, and we can venture into some serious topics. But like personally, that is just a question. What you are doing as a leader or as an HR person while on a lockdown. And let us share this because Saturday is supposed to be light moments. Anyway, it is a holiday. I will text you. I will invite people to be around so that we can, and then all the rest can also still join in the chat box. So, ladies and gentlemen, what time flies, and what a wonderful topic. You know, I will continue discussing this while we are still on the lockdown. What to do during the lockdown. Because kulang pa eh. Kasi hindi pa natin nakuha yung, for those who are still around, we haven't discussed what are the policies and the practices that should be reviewed. And we would like to get your insights on what should really be the proper way to really, improve it. There are a lot. Ang una dyan is timekeeping. Think of ways. Jerry, please be around. Think of ways. And then training. Paano ka magte-train ngayon? Diba? So, what to do now? Alam mo, nakakatuwa kasi all those who are actually listening and we're going to share this, mas lalo kang mangangarap. Mas lalo kang you'll be anxious on what actually to do. So, mag-training needs ka doon. Mag-needs analysis ka. What do you think are the priority that you must look into, and then try to check on what Mark and PP Jerry mentioned and PP Obet on what are the things that should be. Doon ka mag-prioritize kung what to do. Kasi I know we are just provoking you. We are just, it's not actually intimidating or instigating. We are just provoking you that you really now have to think of what you should do while on the lockdown. And looking forward, that it will now be institutionalized as what we call the hybrid. And you know, this is from Apare to Tagum. This is not just Manila. And everybody must look into this. You should not think that I had a conversation with an HR in the south of Manila that they are manufacturing, and as if there is not a problem. And I told her bluntly, I sometimes am brutally frank. Sabi ko, you are just having a facade. After that, she opened up and she ran to. So at this time, be honest to yourself and really try to have time and think of what you can actually do for your companies. And these are actually what to do on the lockdown. Thank you very much. It's a wonderful conversation. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Pipi Obet. Thank you, Grace and Mark and Jennifer. Thank you very much. It's a wonderful, wonderful conversation. Just mabalos po. This is Jesse Rebustillo from HR Hotline.